Hello guys, Video Slack here, and of course I want to talk about hard work. Now this is going to be a bit like the video I made a little while ago on, being successful. And of course basically what I said in that video is kind of trying to portray is that, you know, how should I put this? There are many cases where, workplaces and bosses, managers, etc., they will try to take advantage of us. And one of those ways is, you know, you know fucking updates. Sorry about that. Your PC needs to restart to finish setting up devices. Oh my god. Anyway, I'll do that later. But basically, of course, what I was going to say is that, and by doing so, when they're trying to take advantage of hard workers, they of course will say stuff like, kind of like I said before, how, you know, success takes sacrifice. And it does. But, you know, some people think that their way of getting success is absolute. For instance, a lot of people nowadays are, or should I say, a lot of commercials, media, etc., that if you aren't living the competitive lifestyle, I would say the extremely competitive lifestyle, not just competitive, that you don't have a life and that you won't survive. And, the end quote of, being a survivor. Versus, just being at work all the damn time. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, what are we supposed to fucking live at work? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, growing up, with my father, it just seemed like, the amount of work that I did was just never fucking enough, which is why I actually still sometimes get triggered to this day. Now, what the word triggered really means is kind of like a chemical reaction. Now, the word triggered doesn't just mean, you know, getting angry at something that triggers you to get angry. A trigger can kind of work that way, but a trigger could also, trigger other emotions. It could actually trigger any emotion, but it could also trigger, I'd say for the most parts, a reaction. You see, a trigger is a trigger because it triggers a reaction, not just a feeling. And every time I am just getting this notion from people like I'm not hardworking enough, like my father used to treat me all the time. Even though I used to work all fucking day. All fucking day. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. And of course, this isn't only to do with my father. It's just these workplaces, these bosses, managers. When I was a kid growing up, and I notice it's the same for kids nowadays, how they just treat, younger adults like they're lazy. Like, oh, kids are lazy nowadays. And now people that are my age are starting to say that about the younger generation. Isn't that so ironic? I mean, haven't like people my age, don't they remember back when we were kids and we were being taught that we were lazy? I mean, apparently we're lazy. I'm a millennial, by the way, and it's just so stupid. It is just so stupid. I mean, the cycle just continues and continues and continues. And this is why, at one point in one of my videos, I stated how, we take so much advantage of our youth. We really do. This country really does take way too much advantage. It puts way too much expectations on our young. It really does. I mean, and again, I used to work all fucking day, all the time. And yet, you know, my father would never be satisfied, my teachers would never be satisfied. And of course, that in the biggest part led to a lot of things that were very negative. I mean, my father, I remember when and this is of course a bit personal, but not as personal as other things that I'm going to leave out, of course. How this one time, my father used to leave me at places for fucking hours because it's like, oh, because I'm at work at my successful job working for the government, at the Capitol. So I have to stay at some school for hours waiting for my fucking brother to pick me up. And when I say hours, I mean like 4 to 5 hours of me just waiting around with absolutely fucking nothing to do. And of course, at one point, I get in trouble, and then he has like the audacity to just fucking yell at me like he does. I mean, my God. It's just, again, and of course, it isn't completely my father's fault. I'm not just trying to state this like he's a jackass. But what is the real issue is that, you know, hardworking people like my father and, other people that are like him or like me are just being constantly taken advantage of. We're taught that if we aren't working at these workplaces, that we aren't doing anything basically. Like we aren't doing anything that has any meaning to life. I mean, it's like we aren't doing anything that has no meaning to life unless we are doing something to make some jackass's life better or something to, you know, well, I think you get the point. And I'm just kind of laughing at myself as I'm talking here. Because it's just so effed up. I mean, Jesus Christ. It is just so effed up, the reality. And man, let me tell you too. You know when we were kids and we were taught that if we worked hard enough and put enough hours into our job or careers and stuff, that we would do well and we would do just fine and we'd be all rewarded for it, right? Well, guess what? That's not fucking true. Because let me tell you something. No matter how many hours I worked, no matter how many times I tried showing respect to my bosses and managers and so on, I would still get let go or fired or just whatever. Because let me tell you something, man. There are lots of people in these workplaces that they do not know what the fuck they're doing, nor do they want to get up to do anything. They really don't. I cannot effing tell you how many times I had seen somebody do something effing stupid and then get away with it, but then I do something and it's like the end of the fucking world. And then either I get let go or I get fired. There have been two accounts from a couple of workplaces I've actually worked at here in Iowa, where you know I was told that the reason why they let me go is because I seemed a little bit quiet, because I'm an introvert, and I seemed a little bit quiet, so I seemed like I was just some guy that didn't have any strength to tell people when something bad happened, like let's say if an accident happened. I was told, that's the reason for them letting me go at least a couple of occasions, like that I wasn't honest apparently. And guess what? I told, the agencies for unemployment that, and they both of these workplaces that told me that actually within a couple of months of each other, they both had to pay thousands of dollars for my unemployment because they had zero evidence I actually did anything wrong. Isn't that effed up or what? So I'm of course not going to discourage anybody from doing any hard work. Of course, what I'm trying to state in this video is you really need to watch for who you are working for, because there are a lot of idiots out there that will try to take advantage of you. And some people you just are never going to satisfy them. Some of these places, I just think that they only hired people that they like, because I mean, most of the jobs I've been to, most of these guys are just a bunch of rednecks from small towns, and then they don't hire anybody else hardly outside of town, or it's just fucking stupid. Some of these people. Anything is possible out there. When you really go out there and see the world, anything really is possible. It's, you know, I know at least for some, businesses and the people that own them, the problem is that, for businesses like that, they're still owned by the people of the old world. And they are, trying to keep everything the same around here in Iowa, like I've said before. They're trying to stay in power, and they're trying to keep everything the same. And sometimes I just think, well, what the fuck are you doing? Because one, it's just making life worse for newcomers and the newer ages, you know like even generations like mine. And also, I mean, what are you guys just planning on living forever or something? I mean, good luck with that, because so far I don't think anybody has really lived forever. I mean, really, I don't think. No, nobody. So I don't know how they are going to achieve keeping everything the same forever. So, because let me tell you something, things are changing. They're changing big time. But anyway, I think there's maybe more that I have to say, but I think I'll just kind of leave it at that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.